That means we are live.
But you know this shit's fire.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin the Gas podcast on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. And you guys know, you've seen me, the post I put out. I'm sitting down with the legend himself, Cory West. But before we get into that, this episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial analysis today by Seth Starnes. And Cory, I tell everybody this: don't spend your hard-earned money on an off-the-rack suit. For 90% of us, it's not going to fit you correctly, right? And when you have a suit that don't fit you correctly, it causes all kinds of issues on the motorcycle. So I need you guys to go to bisontrack.com, get your custom suit started. It's super easy, super simple. You pick out the colors, the logos, kangaroo cowhide, the whole nine. While you're there, get you a set of custom gloves, right? And the chest protector right here. I mean, I got it all, the undersuit. And Robert and Tasha are some of the most amazing people you're ever going to meet in your life. So bisontrack.com. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to sit down with the legend, Cory West. What is going on, Cory?
Oh, not much. Just enjoying this rainy Saturday here at home.
Right. And tell everybody, where is home?
I live in Northwest Arkansas, so
Nice.
Ozark Mountains, living up
Oh,
on top of a little
nice.
hill. Yep.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm actually, I don't know if it has anything to do with the Ozark show on Netflix, but I'm watching that, right?
Yeah, that's based up in Missouri, but same kind of mountain range. Yep.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So listen, again, it's an honor. We have a lot to talk about. You've had a phenomenal 2024 season, but before we get into that, Cory, I want to know your very beginning journey on two wheels.
Yeah, for me, it was 4 years old, Christmas Day. Dad got me a Weisinger PW50. So it was red and white with the gold rims, had the little number one on it. So yeah, I think the first time I rode was denim Dan, just like Canadian tuxedo style in a field with some snow. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But I've been around motorcycles my whole life, so fourth generation. So my dad, his dad, great uncles, great grandfather. I mean, it's in the blood.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you have a little one with it in his blood too, as well, right? Are you have any aspirations of him following your footsteps?
Ooh, yeah. Patricia and I have both, talked about what are we gonna do with this kid? We're both racers. I'm sure he's gonna have it. And it's like, yeah, we want him to know how to race or know how to ride motorcycles, but we're not really gonna push racing onto him. I would prefer he would twist another grip like a golf club and make some money.
Yeah, dude, I've told my son the same thing. I was like, bro, learn to play soccer. They make millions of dollars for kicking a soccer ball around, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. And I don't want to go to the racetrack the rest of my life, so let's go golfing.
right. And listen, a lot of racers play golf. It's like I think the reason why a lot of you guys like golf is because it's such a mental challenge like motorcycle racing.
For sure. And it's sometimes races can be long and grueling, and that's kind of the game of golf. You got to be able to keep your head in it for 4 hours or whatever, which is not how long a race is, but you know what I'm saying. It's
I
when
do.
when you get bad breaks, you got to learn how to bounce back and stay positive. So
100%. And I think you guys also learn a lot and take away from it and apply it to the mental state of racing because you get aggravated, you have bad shots, the games ain't going well. Same thing as you come to the track, the bike setup is shit. You can't feel the front end, just everything's not going your way, right? So you got to dig deep down inside and find a way to overcome those mental blocks.
absolutely. I mean, you're not. Everyone thinks you're battling, your competitors, but really you're battling yourself and in the track or the golf course. It's all kind of the same. It's a struggle within, and you got to figure out how to get through that before you can take on others.
That's absolutely, man. So going back to the humble beginnings, Cory, because man, you got your story is absolutely amazing, and all the things you have done in your lifetime. The Northwest 200, 2024 champ, super hooligan, bagger race. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? So coming from the 50, did your dad like kind of steer you towards racing, or was it something you was just like, hey, I'd like to give this a shot?
No, yeah, he never pushed me. He showed me how, and I think I did a few little indoor short track races on the PW, but nothing crazy. I actually lived with my mom when I was a kid, so it was just kind of like a part-time, every once in a while we'd get the motorcycle out and go play around. And I remember, once I got to the age where I could ride something like a XR80 with a clutch and you actually shifted, I was always really short and I could ride it, but that thing threw me down a couple times and was just like not interested. I played baseball and stuff. I did normal kid things and lived with my mom, and that was kind of what I did. But once I got a little bit older and started realizing like team sports, it's tough. Like if you're competitive, it's hard to rely on your teammates sometimes. Where when you're racing, it's kind of an individual sport. So that was definitely more my style once I got older and kind of realized.
It is a lot of people. It's very much a team effort motorcycle racing, but once you get on that bike, it's absolutely
Yeah,
your sole job, right?
exactly, exactly.
So yeah, for sure. Unlike soccer and baseball and football and yada yada yada. Yeah, man. So do you watch any road racing at all, or
Yeah, I mean, my dad was constantly, he had Cycle News coming weekly. There was always Speed Vision, Speed Channel. I remember sitting down and watching Daytona 200 when Scott Russell couldn't put his helmet on, from getting beat up in the bar or whatever, riding the Harley and all that stuff. So like, yeah, I mean, I remember it. I mean, my dad took me to Laguna Seca in 1995 for World Superbike when I was only 10, but that was really what triggered me liking the whole road race because I'd never really been in the paddock and seen the flash and all the cool and yeah, Smoking Joe's Honda, just all that stuff. Met Colin Edwards, for a 10-year-old, that was all really cool and um, yeah, I mean, we would always go to dirt track races. We'd go to Oklahoma City Half Mile and watch that every year, Camel Pro Series. And, my dad raced flat track, so he was friends with guys like Ronnie Jones, national number 16. So we were always around, the cool people and at the cool racetracks. And I always had the bug, but didn't really think much of it until I got a bit older.
and you was like, Dad, I want to go racing.
Well, I mean, so I moved in with my dad when I was like 11 or 12. And, he had street bikes. I would always ride two up with him, and he rode sport bikes. And there's photos of him dragging his knee, and I'm like, that's so cool. And once I was a kid and I could ride on the back with him, I could feel when he would lean off into the turns and hear how he shifted and all that stuff, and it all just came to me pretty naturally because in Arkansas, when you're 14, you can get a street license for 250 or smaller. So I had a 250 Ninja when I was like 13 and a half,
That is awesome.
and and just started riding, chasing him around, and we'd go on these group rides and stuff, and he's always like, "Just ride your own pace," and but I was always at the sharper end. So it didn't take long. I wanted to get on the track and keep trying, and once it got serious, he's like, "Well, let's try some dirt track racing," and I was terrible at it. It was not what I wanted to do. It was really hard. But, just
Uh,
like anything, it takes time.
it does, right? I just want to go to the pavement, Dad. I don't want to. I don't want
Yeah,
to
I
ride.
just wanna be a road racer. Like, why can't we just do that? But
Right? Yeah, I
yeah,
bet. Yeah, he's probably like, because there's a lot to learn dirt track, right? And there is.
absolutely. And I knew
Yeah,
nothing. I knew nothing.
dude, that's awesome. So going through the progression, uh, what was your pathway into what now is Moto America? It used to be AMA and then DMG. Now it's obviously
Yeah. So, yeah, it used to be AMA Pro Racing before Daytona Motorsports Group bought
you
them
know
out, and then Moto America. So I've kinda gone through all of those phases. I kind of did some club racing when I was 14 years old. What kind of got us kicked off was a Aprilia Cup Challenge on the old RS 252 strokes. That was kind of a thing that just started in like 1999, and the age limit was 14 and up. And so a gentleman by the name of Hank Blackstock. He lives in Oklahoma City. He actually sponsored my dad on a BMW that he raced in Battle of Twins, and a Moto Guzzi that he raced, and Superbike back in the 80s. So uh, Hank bought an Aprilia, and we went. The last round of that championship was in October, so I had just turned 14 in August, and it was at Texas World Speedway. So we went down to Texas World. I had one provisional novice weekend under my belt at Hallett in Tulsa, but I rode my CR 250 dirt tracker we just threw the front brake on it, and I rode around. It's a small track, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But to go down to Texas World and get off the dirt tracker and onto a proper, I thought it was proper. They were street bikes, but it was super cool. And yeah, that was my first taste of road racing.
And you was like, I'm hooked. That's it. This is all I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty quick, but it was like, I think the podium was Ben Spies, John Hopkins, and Ryan Landers.
Howdy do.
It's my son Rossi. Look, I got his
What's
birthday's
up?
coming up. We're big Star Wars fans, and he got
Oh
this.
man.
So there's
Dude.
an app that you can do. I connected my lightsaber to it, and then it's so much easier to change the color, sounds, drag, all that. And I got Darth Vader on there.
I love it.
It
Nice.
sounds just like him.
Sweet.
It sounds just like his lightsaber. Hold on, let me get-
Dude, so yeah, this happens almost every episode, and the light goes off.
Well, oh yeah, we're making it extra dark.
Oh,
this
okay.
time.
Here, let me cut this off real quick. All right, shut the window.
We're making
All right,
it
we got to go all out, Corey, for you,
super.
Oh man,
dude. Don't hurt
Oh.
nobody with that thing.
that thing's no joke.
No, it is not. It's super cool.
Wait.
I hear it. That's awesome.
Look at lights up the whole room.
So he's been playing with this thing ever since he got it.
Very cool. Yeah, Patricia's a huge Star Wars fan too.
Dude, so obviously we are, right? So we Legos, we play the
You see
video games.
That's the button. You know, if I pressed it, right?
Yep.
I don't have to like push forward and turn.
That's super cool, buddy.
And if
Wow.
I
Bro, you didn't know you was gonna have a lesson in Star Wars with lightsabers today, did you?
No way,
look,
man.
this is force effect.
I know that's super cool, Rossi.
One of them makes the stormtrooper killing sound.
Dude, what can I say, right?
I'm keeping it.
I want to play with it when we get done, okay? Anyway, Corey, sorry about the interruption, my man.
No worries.
Yeah, so like I said, ladies and gentlemen, my son Rossi, you guys see him all the time. Hey, yep, there you go. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. I love you.
Love you.
Right, my man. So yeah, you just wait, Corey. Yeah, you just wait, buddy.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But sorry, where was we at?
Aprilia Cup
Yeah,
challenge
Aprilia
at
Cup.
Texas World. Yeah, so that was my first time proper road racing, and it was actually Ben Spies, John Hopkins, Ryan Landers were the podium. So those guys were all, contracted Valvoline Suzuki riders. And that was my first time, so I think I finished like 7th, but it was good. I just kept getting faster and faster until I crashed. So,
Right?
I mean, that's,
Until you found the limit and went over. it.
yeah, pretty much. I kept dragging bodywork and stuff and was just like, man, I don't know where the limit is. And then I finally found it. So
I love
that's
it,
how road
man.
racing is, right?
It absolutely it is, right? And then all of a sudden you come up through the ranks, and so you raced in the glory days when we had the cigarette sponsors and all that, where people were making a proper living road racing.
Well,
right?
I can't, like, that would have been 99. So, I mean, I was around to see, Nikki Hayden, Matt Mladen here in the States, Ben Spies, all that. But yeah, I think the glory days were probably the early to mid 90s. Seemed
Yeah,
like
they were.
that was the time. Yeah.
They were. That was before all the electronic, come into play, or 750s versus the 1000 twins. Yeah, it was proper
Pretty
racing
cool.
back then. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And then I remember when Harley decided they were to come racing for the first time. I was like, "What? Harley's gonna road race? I mean, it's kind of cool." And they come out with the VR 1000. Yeah, Doug Chandler raced for him. Scott Russell actually, I think, raced it if my memory serves me
Yeah,
right.
bunch of people rode it.
Now,
It was really cool having the opportunity to race the Harleys this year, getting to go to the Harley Homecoming, the Harley Museum. They've got all the VR 1000s, in the vault. It's super cool to see all that stuff because it was still there when I first started, and then they slowly faded away.
yeah, they did. So fast forward through all the club racing and the Moto America days. Now we are in 2024. You're the champion in Super Hooligans, which I love the Super Hooligan class, right? What a cool class, dude. And obviously you race in the bagger class too. What's it like to race the bagger, right? Because you got to jump off the bagger and then jump on
One
a Super
more
Hooligan,
lightsaber
which
I
is
have to show you.
show him. This is his Lego lightsaber he just built, Corey.
Whoa,
Yeah, dude, we're Lego nerds too, right?
same.
Dude,
That
right?
thing's pretty cool.
Corey said he's a Lego fan too, buddy.
Oh, yep. I got
I like
like
building the
3
cars.
lightsabers combined. I got Cal Kestis. I got Kylo Ren, Darth Vader,
You mixed them all up.
and
Corey says he likes putting cars together, Lego cars.
well,
He
I
has
like,
some too.
I like putting Lego butterfly knives, random stuff, and this.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be an engineer or something when he
This.
grows up.
So the first one I've ever built, I built it at my Uncle Nick's house. His goofy self's brother. That was all in Colorado. I built him one, and I put it on his shelf. It's still up. Then I built one like a long time ago, and then I just like left it. Like I built it like 2 years ago, and then I just like left it, right? And I found a piece of it,
He's got a lot to say to you, Corey.
and I
Sounds like it.
took it apart, and I took it apart because I found it yesterday.
So this is
then
actually made
made it.
out of a Bugatti car that he put together and decided to take it apart and build a lightsaber out of it.
Yeah, it's his. It's the
That's cool.
Bugatti. It's the
So-
Bugatti car tire.
So now
Oh, I see that.
with like YouTube, you can YouTube, so he gets all these ideas and he'll sit in there for hours and just come out and be like, dude, I built this and this and this, and I'm like, dude, but where'd you learn
I
how
was
to do
definitely much more creative when I was younger with
And
Legos.
I built the handle
Yeah.
out of 4 of these, 2 big ones,
that? Yeah, because I always put the stuff together and then took it apart and did something else with it, right?
2 big ones, and 2 small ones.
We just had a bucket, like one of those big popcorn buckets, just full of all the Legos. And we would just dump them out on the floor and
Will and Toss.
get the
And
building.
just get to it, right? Yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
I'm actually buying him a dirt bike for Christmas. He's getting him a dirt bike, so I'm gonna get him out there, start riding. He never
Sweet.
really wanted to do it, Corey, and I never pushed him into doing it, even though I bought him several dirt bikes, right?
Yeah.
But he comes out to the races with me, and he's good friends with Yondell, and he's always riding a little 50 around. And finally, he comes up. He actually goes up to my dad and says, "Grandpa, you buy me a dirt bike for Christmas." I was like, "Yes, my son's
Time has
gonna
come.
ride. The time has come, right?" So, but yeah. So back to what I was saying. Coming off the bagger, going to the super hooligan, the weight difference, the power difference, and all that. Do you find it a bit challenging when you first started it?
For sure. The first round of the year is baggers and hooligans, so you're kind of just going nuts back and forth, and there's a huge difference between the 2 bikes. The baggers 630 pounds, the hooligans 440. So there's quite a bit of weight change there, weight difference. But then the hooligan has 0 wind break. It's naked, so the bagger's actually easier to ride around Daytona because you have a fairing, something to hide behind, some wind protection. The hooligan, 166 mile an hour, and it's just hitting you right in the center of the forehead and the shoulders. It's hard to hang on to that thing. Honestly, the wind is getting it with
Oh,
no brake. That number plate doesn't do anything. So, yeah, they're both very unique motorcycles, and at my age in my career where I'm at, it's kind of more fun to be racing weird stuff that's not meant to be going as fast as what we're making them do. So Not a lot of electronics. It's just kind of all on your wrist, and it's a little archaic, but it's more my style. I'd rather do that than be plugging into the laptop and looking at electronics all day. That's kind of past me now, I think.
Or reading all the squiggly lines, right? You're like, I have no idea what I'm
We
even
still
looking
got to
at.
look at them, but we're not tuning like wheelie control and traction control and all that stuff. It's cool. I mean, I love super bikes. I used to love riding 1000s and how fast they are and what they're capable of. But nowadays, they're so fast that it's all about maintaining the power and trying not to get too crazy or you burn the tire off and stuff like that. So that's where you got to have somebody that's good at opening up that laptop and plugging into it and taming all those ponies.
Yeah, and then there's also a lot to learn from a rider on that aspect too as well. Um, yeah, I couldn't imagine sitting there looking at all these lines for hours and be like, yeah, I got a headache. Right, I got a headache looking at this right now.
Well, I mean,
Man,
so we have all that stuff on the bagger because they're more of like super bike rules. But the hooligan, we have there's no potentiometers, so we're all just looking at the zip tie. Is it on the bottom? How does it feel and stuff like that. So hooligans are more simple and kind of leave it to the riders to get out there and duke it out.
yeah, absolutely, and that's what I love, obviously, about the Super Hooligan because it's so unique, right? I feel like in the beautiful circus of road racing, Hooligans got its own little circus within that circus. And it's absolutely amazing because there's such a wide variety of bikes, right? And I think that's one of the challenges is trying to make the rules and even for everybody in the class. Um,
Absolutely. And
and
it's still a work in progress, I think. Um, it'd be cool to get a few more manufacturers up there to, challenge for wins and podiums. And I think we kind of saw that with the prototype bikes that they allowed Fillmore with the KTM 990, and then a couple people on Ducati V2s at Coda. They all scored podiums, but they weren't counted, no points awarded. So I think they kind of threw that in there just to kind of see what they're capable of and then figure out what they're going to have to do rules package wise to keep it all, you know, keep it a good fight.
like the 600 Super Sport class, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do something. You got motorcycles. We're a 1250. The Indians 1200. There's FZ09s. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So you got to figure out how to keep it even as possible.
Oh, 100%. It makes such good racing too, right? It's like a junior cup race is sort of since a lot of the time where you guys are just proper battling it out, right? And again, number one plate, right? Congratulations. You absolutely well deserved. It was a proper mega season. It was an up and down and crazy season too, as well.
Yeah, I've just one down, fortunately. That was kind of my one big mistake this year was crashing out of the lead in the rain at the Ridge race one, but came back and got a podium on race two, and then ended up 3 wins total on the season and 9 podiums out of 10 tries. So just the one time I crashed, every other time we were on the box at least. So the consistency paid off. O'Hara, he finished every race, but there was times where we finished a lot better than him. So we got good points and brought it home. Did it smart, and the Saddlemen race development guys, they worked really hard, and it was cool to put a Harley at the top. That hasn't really happened. And I was trying to think back, when was the last time a Harley beat a class full of different manufacturers instead of just Harley versus Indian or Harley spec class. And I had to go all the way back to Battle of Twins, like 1986 or 87. Back that
Wow.
was Gene Church on the Lucifer's Hammer Harley Davidson. He was racing against BMWs and Ducatis and Moto Guzzi's and stuff like that. So kind of cool, little piece of history there, and hopefully we can follow it up with another one next year.
Absolutely. So, talking 2025, are you still same team, Bagger and Super Hooligan, or?
Um, I will be with the same team. It's not for certain what exact classes we're going to be running yet, but I know we'll still be doing Super Hooligans. So we'll have the super cool Harley Davidson #1 plate on the front of that thing. So should look good.
Absolutely, it looks good, right? It's yeah. So you're the White Rabbit next year, right? So knowing that, Corey, being in this position, does that #1 plate have any added extra pressure on you?
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of part of it, right?
Yep.
Um, I mean, we had our season this year carrying the number 13, but I haven't experienced what that's like running the #1 plate and being the guy. So I look forward to the challenge. It gives me good motivation. You know, I've got a family to provide for, so bring it on.
Let's do it. Let's go,
Let's
right?
go.
Let's freaking go, people.
Yeah,
I love it, dude. I love the
yeah,
energy, man. So let's transition into real road racing, right, Corey? How did that come about, right? Because if I told my mom, obviously my mom didn't like motorcycles to begin with, right? She's like, I want you to ride, blah, blah, blah. It's just now that you're a dad, you understand. You'll start to understand it more when he gets older and he starts um doing crazy things, just like what you used to do as a little kid. You're like, no, I don't want you to get hurt, right? That
right.
that sort of sense. But then if I told my mom I was going to the Isle of Man TT, she'd probably lock me up in a room and throw away the keys so I couldn't get out, right? So what was that decision like? You just all of a sudden one day, or is it something you always wanted to do?
Uh, there's definitely, I've got a bucket list, and so there were some things on the list. Uh, I'd say the big one was Pikes Peak, and I had that opportunity to race Pikes Peak in 2019. I did it for 0 electric motorcycles, so that was a whole unique experience in its own, first time dealing with the electric side. But, Pikes Peak was kinda one that maybe didn't get a lot of credit or hype, but equally as dangerous, like, holy cow. Um, the exposure there is real, that mountain is alive, and the the differences in the mountain as you keep going to the top, that place is constantly changing, and it's, it was really wild, and that's kinda how I got my feet wet in the real roads, but that's not a race, that's a time trial. So, uh, my wife, Patricia Fernandez, now Fernandez West, she's been racing roads for quite a while, and as we started dating at the end of 2015, and then I think it was 2016, she was like, "You should come to the Ulster and come see me race in Ireland." And that was my first experience of, like, proper Irish road racing, really fast stuff, and, oh, man, it was I mean, it's everything that you would expect. It's just crazy. It's so gnarly, and, I was more of a, jumped in on the wrench mechanic side of things because maybe she wasn't riding the best bike, best team back then, so it was, one of those things like, "Man, this is so scary. I need to make sure this thing's all the bolts are tight," stuff like that. But, the more she did it and the more we were together, the more I kinda just got used to the idea of it. I did get to go to Macau. I didn't race Macau, but I went and wrenched on some, EBR, Eric Buell machines for Mark Miller and Brandon Cretu, and so I got to witness that, and so I've kind of been around it and seen it a little bit, and then Patricia, she went and did the Northwest 200 for a more, noteworthy team, and, they actually had a pretty good program that won the Super Twins race over there. And so Patricia rode 600 Super Sport and then stock 1000, and then she'd ride that 1000 in Super Bike as well. So getting lots of seat time, and she was like, "Do you want to come over and try this?" Like, and I was like, "Well, I guess if there was ever an opportunity, this would be the one because it's a team that she's already ridden for. They've got good mechanics, they have good equipment, but I don't want to ride a big bike." Like that was my thing. Like, I don't put me on something super fast. Just let me ride a twin or something. It'll be cool. And, I didn't really know the rules on the Super Twins class, but damn if that thing wasn't super fast. I mean, for what it is, I rode a Kawasaki 650, and I think they could make them 700s, and I I think I hit close to 170 on it, on the one of the long straightaways there, and but that's better than 200 something, it was a good way to get my feet wet and get a little taste of proper road racing, and, let's see, we did it last year, I guess, so, yeah, it was pretty wild.
It,
Uh, I qualified 16th, I think, that put me with the first wave, which is always kind of at least you get to go with the fast guys and see what they do. And to have that, I was the last qualifier in the first wave, so I didn't have to worry about a bunch of dudes behind me, attacking me into turn one. So I just got good starts and rolled with the pack. And luckily, I had a pretty fast bike and made it easy on me on the straightaways. I just started passing people, and I was going pretty easy on the brakes because that's kind of the danger is getting into something too hot and where you can't get it shut down. The Northwest is pretty safe as far as having runoff. It's you're going into roundabouts or intersections of a city, and so they'll give you, some runoff if you get in there too hot. But I wasn't playing that game at all. I'll go nice and easy on the brakes and then make sure I get good drives out of everything. And I think I finished 10th in the first race, but I had a 10-second penalty because I blew one of the chicanes. I would have been 8th, but got docked 10 seconds. And then the second race, I finished 6th. So I brought home the best newcomer award. Yeah, best finish for a newcomer at the 200 that year. It was pretty cool.
oh, dude, that's a proper mega job, right? And it's so much different doing a real road race versus short circuit. And when we kind of had a little bit of this conversation for we did this podcast is how do you mentally prepare for that a real road race? Because obviously it's different than short circuit racing, right? And the way you approach it, and with saying that, your wife Patricia, she's raced there, so she knows the track. Did you obviously rode on the track in a car, watch some YouTube videos to learn it and all that too as well?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
all of the above. And Pikes Peak was totally different because she'd never done it. I'd never done it, and I knew some friends that did it. So I kind of took the best advice I could get from my friends, and then luckily we went up there. They do a tire test about 15 days before the event, and so Zero signed up for that, and they had a house rented at the base of the mountain. So we did the test. I played this video game that they told me to play, and I played the crap out of it. And once I got there, I found it just a waste of time. It was I still didn't know where I was going. I was going up this mountain blind pretty much, and it scared me. And so I had 15 days to learn it. I got a big track map here on my wall. It's 12.4 miles, 156 turns. So, but I had 15 days. So I I had my street bike and GoPro, and I went up that mountain a lot. But it was cool. They give the competitors a free pass. You don't have to pay the toll. You can just get in there and do the thing. But you can't be speeding. It's a road. It's a public road. So if you get caught speeding while you're out there scouting, you'll get your entry pulled. It's one of those things where you just got to go up there and look for reference points, basically.
yeah,
But then the Northwest, that was cool because at least it's a circuit. You're cranking out some laps. They're like 5-minute laps, it's 9 miles around that place or something. And but it's all pretty much wide open. It's so fast, you're just flying. And so you just try to figure out it's a pretty simple track to learn. It's like a big triangle, but having Patricia there to bounce things off of, where do you go here? What do you look for there? Super rough through here. What do you do to get through the rough stuff? Which you pretty much just stand on the pegs, I learned. But it was I mean, it was one of those things you just have to respect it. And I'm not going into this thing trying to win or show everybody how fast I am. It's like I'm just here for the experience. I'm not here to not come home,
yeah.
And so it's like I was saying, I was easy in the braking zones and then fast coming out, and you try to make sure you get good drives, but you don't you just ride around at like, I don't know, 85%, I would say. That's kind of how I probably touched 90% on the last couple of laps of the last race. It's like you just slowly start getting more and more comfortable with not paying attention to the dangerous shit and just hammering down, but you still have to respect it. I mean, it's right there, and as soon as you start to neglect it, it'll come out and bite you. So,
Oh, absolutely. So my next question is the TT next. Is that on the bucket list?
oh man, it's definitely been a topic of discussion in our household for sure. Patricia is actually she has the title as the world's fastest female road racer
Yep.
because the Ulster Grand Prix has a very, very high average lap mile per hour, and it was faster than the TT until just recently. And so she's never done the TT, but she's turned a faster average lap than any other female. 121.8 mile an hour or something is what she did at the Ulster, that's average mile per hour. It's it's nuts. So I know Peter Hickman. I know a lot of guys that have raced the TT and done really well, and we've thought about it, and it's a huge commitment, and it would basically just take living over there for the winter. Like if you're really going to do it proper, you need to be over there. That's 37-mile lap that you have to remember, and the fast guys are doing it in 17 minutes. So it's gonna, you're digesting that in a rental car at like an hour, probably a lap.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, those laps are priceless. You just got to get over there and do it, and it's really, really far from home. So, yeah, I don't really see it in my future, and I will probably dissuade it from Patricia's since we have a little baby boy now. So it's just one of those places. I mean, if you lived in the UK and it was more of a normal thing, and you could go over there and do it year after year and get used to it and slowly get up to speed, that's one thing. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for the Americans that have gone over there and done it because it's a it's a daunting task.
Oh yeah, like Mark Miller's the fastest American that's been over there. Brandon Cray too. He's been over there. Buddy of mine too. I know Peter. I met him. I went to BSB last year at Cadwell Park. As soon as I got there, I flew out of here on a Monday. I got there. Maybe I got there on Monday anyway. I just remember went to sleep, woke up because I knew I stayed in Louth. And Hickman shop's like 9 minutes from the hotel. So I called down there. I was like, bro, man, I'm Simcoe from America. I'm a huge fan. Like, this is my bucket list. Like, I don't need to come down to the shop. I want to buy a hat, a t-shirt, blah, blah, blah. And the lady on the phone, this is her exact words. She says, holy shit, right? Because she's like, dude, like, your energy through the phone is just intense, right? So she's like, yeah, come on down. I give you the address. Because we had moved buildings. So I get a cab, go down there. They didn't tell me Peter Hickman was standing there. Walk in the door, look to the right. Not only is Hickman standing there, there's this champion 137 average lap BMW sitting there. And I was just like, am I living right now? Like, is this actually real? Like, I don't even think this is real, And then, dude, he was down to earth, super cool.
Oh, he's a great dude.
Bro, he's
Great
awesome.
dude.
Talked to him for like 20 minutes. He was all like, oh my God, in America, we don't see you guys over here. Of course, my country accent. So they were just asking me all kinds of questions just to hear me talk, right? And he's like, dude, we're having a bike night. It's my first one since my new building. Come on back, man. And I met his dad, and through the whole weekend, Peter, every time he see me, he'd say hi and give me fist pounds. And I actually ended up on the Superbike grid. And yeah, same thing, dude. It was he's an absolute legend. Absolutely. And then I finally worked up the balls, Cory, to ask him to come on my podcast. I was like, Peter, will you please come on my podcast? He's like, absolutely, mate, but wait till after the season. So
yeah. No, it's awesome. He comes down to Colin Edwards Texas Tornado Boot Camp every February. We do a racer camp, and he usually brings quite a few of his crew. They're all riders as well. So we've spent quite a few winters down at the camp with Peter and his boys. So yeah, he's good. He's a good dude.
Yeah, dude, he's absolutely. His dad's really cool too. Have you met his dad?
No, I haven't met his dad.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Every time he see me walking through the at Cadwell too. You'd always come up to me and talk to me. And again, Cory, it was one of those moments I'm like, dude, this is not happening. Like I'm not. This is definitely a dream. I'm living in the Matrix or something's going
Well,
on.
that's
So.
awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, dude, we're 40 minutes into this. I'm only going to keep you for about another 20 minutes because you're a new dad. And you got a lot of stuff to do, catch up on some sleep, all that good stuff, diapers to be changed, milk to
Lots
be
of those.
warmed up, the formula.
Yeah,
Listen, I've been there. I know it. And this is all I'm going to say about that, bro. Cherish these moments, dude, because it's going to go by so quick. And he's going to grow so fast. You're going to look back and be like, dude, I miss not getting no sleep and hearing those little pat 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 footsteps running through the hallway or the house, and it's just
right.
enjoy it, dude. Trust me, it's
Oh yeah.
absolutely amazing. So the first question I want to ask you is, what's for dinner tonight?
Well, I'm actually leaving town tomorrow, so Patricia's been cooking all week. She doesn't want to cook tonight, so I think we're just gonna get some barbecue to go from our local hot spot here in Eureka Springs.
I love it, man. I love it. Tell us something we don't know about Cory West.
Ooh, something that you don't know about Corey. Almost everyone in my family can ride a unicycle on my dad's side, and we have unicycles as tall as 10 feet tall.
Wow,
So yeah, we've got carnies in our family from way back, I guess. So
I love it, dude.
yeah, like once my dad could always ride one, and then I remember we went to a family gathering, and a bunch of my cousins were riding them, and I was just like, I gotta up my game and learn how to ride a damn unicycle. And then yeah, it's like everyone knew how to ride one. So yeah,
That's
I've ridden
hilarious.
like a 7 footer in a Christmas parade one time. Yeah, unicycles, crazy stuff.
That's awesome. It's funny because I got a unicycle, and yeah, I used to ride a unicycle. It was actually that taught me the balance point, and when I first started riding wheelies, it helped me find that, because it's all about using your well, that is your midsection and obviously
Yeah.
the balance, but it's the same thing on.
Well, yeah, that you can't just jump on it and ride it the first try.
Mm-mm.
It takes some effort, takes some focus, and so one of my great uncles, he won the lightweight 250 race at Daytona in '67 or something like that. So he showed my dad about riding unicycles, and then like that's where I learned was riding in Robert's garage one night, and he's like, if you didn't know how to ride one of these, you weren't winning any races, back in the day. And I'm like, that's pretty cool, you know. And so I've taken it to another. I like those weird, challenging balance type of things, and so I have slack lines too. I have a couple slack lines set up on my property that I like to walk on, and it's just like a unicycle. You try to get on it, it throws you off. You gotta figure it out. There's a balance there, and so all that kind of stuff, fast twitch muscles, all that stuff. I like the challenge and knowing how to do weird things.
I love it, man. Me too, right? But so is are you going to get little man a unicycle?
Uh, I don't even have a unicycle right now. They're all my dad's got all that crazy old stuff. So
Yeah, I don't have one no more neither. I can't remember what happened to it. I bent the rim on it, and yeah, it sat for a while. And I think I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened. Just got lost in time, I guess. I
yeah, they're
kind of
kind of one
miss
of
it
those
though.
things. Like if you know how to ride it, if you see someone riding one, you want to jump on it and give it a
Yeah,
go. But
yeah.
if I'm home, that's like the last thing I'm going to think about is like, where's the unicycle? I'm going to go cut some laps in the
Right.
driveway. Like, yeah.
I
Uh,
love it. I love it. All right. So let me ask you this, Corey. What is your worst habit?
oh, geez. What is my worst habit? Um, man, this is hard to think about.
I bet Patricia
Um,
would know. Hold up. Let's get Patricia up in here.
she'd probably say, leave the toilet seat up.
Dude, all women say that, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
shoot, I
bad
don't
at
know,
it too.
man. Maybe not taking things as serious as I need to until it's like really time. So
Yeah.
maybe a little more focus on proper training and stuff like that. Sometimes it's easy to get distracted nowadays, and so it's like I don't know. I've been racing so long that it's all just muscle memory now. So I just kind of take some of that stuff for granted, and the times, and then you get beat and you're like, ah, shit, I should have been putting a little more into it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. So when you prepare for battles, what I always call it, right? That like you're Leonidas up against the 300 Persians, the 10,000 Persians out there on the track. How do you have any like superstitions? The way you prepare for battle, right foot, right foot on,
I
socks
mean,
inside out,
you're looking at a
anything
guy that
like that?
runs number 13 on his motorcycle, so
I love
I'm
it.
not super superstitious, but yeah, it's like, left foot first, right foot second, left glove first, right glove second. It's just doing repetition, doing it the same way I do every time, it's just stuff like that. Um, I like to stretch a little bit. The older I get, I like a little bit of a warm up before I go out. The hooligan races are just kind of hooligans and baggers are both sprint races. They're 8 laps at the most. So if I don't get this old diesel warmed up, she's not gonna be firing on all cylinders right away. So jump rope, some light yoga, just kind of get the heart rate going before I get in the leathers. That's usually a good thing for me nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like the younger we get, Corey, I gotta stretch out. Like I do that every morning if I go to work too. It's like if I don't, I'm like, why did I not stretch out this morning? Because it's
Uh,
killing me right now, right? Like
Stuff I took for granted when I was a kid, but once you get older, you gotta start stretching stretch those muscles. Yeah, it's part of the
you,
deal.
you got to stretch some bones out. Yeah, I know. I feel
Exactly.
you, man. Dude, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, right? I'm not a big book reader. Well, when I'm reading my shop manual for my RC51 or my other
There you go.
motorcycles, right? Yes, then I read some books. But other than that, I'm a big audiobook listener. Is that something you do too as well?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Audiobooks and podcasts. Um, I've always had a bit of a winter side gig, and it was working on mountain bike trails, whether it be building or maintenance. And Northwest Arkansas is full of it. Um, we're lucky to have the Walton Walmart family in the area, so they've invested a ton of money in the trails, and they all need either built or maintained. So when I was maintaining stuff, that's just hours of leaf blowing, weed eating, stuff like that. And yeah, pop in an audiobook or a podcast and just set sail.
What audiobook are you listening to now if you're listening to one? Or what can you recommend to people listening?
Um, I'm always kind of like a self-help type of person, stuff like that. And so one of the books that really opened my eyes a lot was Ego is the Enemy. That's a really good one on Audible. A lot of good quotes from, ancient philosophers and stuff like that. Just things to keep yourself in check. Ego can definitely be your enemy at times, and it's always good to be self-aware.
Oh, 100%, man. It absolutely. I'm like you. I listen to a ton of audiobooks. Obviously, I'm a nerd when it comes to racing, right? So any racer out there's got an audiobook. This guy right here is absolutely listen to all of them. And I also listen to Formula One audiobooks, and I listen to like David Goggins, dude, just stuff like that. I like history, so stuff on the Spartans and the Egyptians and just,
Oh yeah.
man, all that cool stuff. But this is the book I'm currently listening to right now is Mark Webber.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
the F1 guy. So
Yep.
you take and you learn from every audiobook, you learn something, right? And actually you learn something about yourself too, because as you grow through life, your mind's more open. So you think it and you see things differently, right? So yeah, it's absolutely. And as far as podcasts, what podcast do you actually listen to?
Uh, I'm a big nerd too, so MotoGP stuff. I'm all in it. I like the tech. I say that I don't like it as a racer because I don't, but it's neat to just know what they're doing in MotoGP and the level that they're taking it and all the aerodynamics, just trying to understand it better so that when I watch the races, I kind of have a better idea of what's going on. And I like to hear the gossip because it's kind of cool. World Superbike stuff as well. So um, yeah, and then lately, what's Corey Alexander and
Pipe
Rispoli's
dreams.
Pipe
Yep.
Dreams, man.
Yep.
It's cool. I like getting backstories on racers and famous people. It's always cool,
Yep.
and especially racers because everyone that races can relate to a racer in some way. And so, Gypsy Tales, they're another good
Yep.
one that and a lot of the good Gypsy Tales ones are the ones that he's not interviewing racers, he's interviewing somebody else in some other profession, so it's, you never know what you're gonna learn from total strangers. It's always neat.
Absolutely. And another one I can recommend is Chasing the Racing. They're UK based too, and they interview.
I've seen it pop up in
Yeah.
my suggested. Yeah,
Yeah.
haven't clicked on it yet, but, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's good. So Chrissy Rouse, he passed away a couple years ago. BSB, he started
Mhm.
it, and his buddy Dom, him and Dom did it. And then Dom, after Chrissy passed away, continued with it. So yeah, it's an awesome podcast. They have everybody on. So
Nice.
yeah, absolutely, man. So let me ask you this: what is your favorite holiday? Are you Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving?
Uh, Favorite holiday. I'm not a huge Christmas fan. It's just I don't know, maybe it was not the super fun Christmases when I was a kid that made me not like Christmas so much, but it's just a stressful time of the year, I think, for a lot of people. So, uh, bigger fan of like 4th of July, Halloween, stuff like that, or just like spring break. I don't even think that's a holiday, but when you just get out of school for a week, stuff like that was always more fun when the weather's nice outside.
Anytime to crack a cold one's a good holiday, ain't it?
Oh, I just fire up the barbecue and have people over. Yeah, stuff like that. That's why I say 4th of July. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
That's my wife was born on the 4th of July, so
Oh, cool.
yeah. I actually met my wife on a blind date. Um, how did you and Patricia meet? Obviously through road racing. That's what I would assume.
Well, we bumped into each other at the races a few times, but never really spent the time to talk to each other. And then she actually came down to Colin Edwards boot camp, and it's a 4-day camp, so we talked quite a bit, got to know each other, and then realized that we were both living really close. So just kind of kept in contact, and that's how that all worked.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, if you had your own private track day, Cory, and you can invite any three people in the world, it could be dead or alive. It could be Albert Einstein to Valentino Rossi, whatever. Like the unnormal people you would normally invite to a track day. What three people you gonna invite to your private track day?
Oh man, you should have prepped me with these before. I could have had some better answers for you. Three people. Um,
Well, I like it live, man, because it's raw.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I want my dad to be there because he doesn't get to ride on the track very much anymore, and he still knows how. So it'd be great to get him in some leathers and just turn him loose and let him relive it. Um, Shoot, I would say, I haven't really gotten ever to ride with Colin Edwards either. And I think that'd be super cool because I go down to the camp all the time and we've played in the dirt and like he was always kind of a hero, but we never got to ride on track together. So I think that would be cool. Just it's like I just be inviting old heroes to come out there and roll around with me.
I love it, man. I love it. So let me ask you this: are you team Pecco or team Jorge Martin this year for the title?
I'm going for Martine.
Yes.
Give it to the guy, man. He's
Yes,
working
yes.
so hard for it. Let's see it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I like Jorge Martin and I like Pecco too, right? I found myself
Oh, for
since
sure. For sure. They're
Valentino
both
retired.
incredible.
Oh,
Yeah.
they are. They absolutely. But since Valentino retired and Nicky's not here no more, my other favorite racer is Marco Simoncelli. I'm a fan of all the racers in there, but my favorite racers and riders are all my friends that race, like you and Yondell, and man, the list is long. Um, but I am Team Martin. I want to see him win it because to say a big, you know what, to Ducati for not believing me these past 2 years when I should have been there. Then not only that, I'm taking the number one plate to your rivalry, which is an Italian brand too, as well, right?
Yeah. I
So
think that's part of it that makes it even
yes,
cooler, just a big FU. And
right.
I think it's cool that Ducati's still supporting him the way they are because they could definitely interfere in this championship if they really wanted to, but they're letting the two guys go at it and it's been pretty incredible. I mean, some of the racing has been a bit boring, but those dudes are on it. So
Yes, they are.
those
Yes,
first three
they are.
laps at Malaysia were like just riding with their hair on fire, and then finally, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna last like this the whole race," and finally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned boring there at the end, but man, yeah, well, that's cool to see what they're capable of, though, because usually everyone's just kinda chill on those first few laps, but not anymore.
No, and it's coming down next weekend. It's the last race of the season, so it's hopefully he'll wrap it up during the sprint race. But yeah, we'll see. He's definitely matured, Corey. His mental state game is a lot stronger than it used to be, Jorge's. Um,
Well, I mean, it all comes from experience, right?
yeah, it
And,
does.
last year, I kinda that was our first go at it on that Harley in the Pan America, structure with hooligans, and, I knew that we were capable of doing the same thing, but I matured as a rider as well, and knowing that I had a kid coming was a good motivation for me too, and yeah, it's cool to see the underdog put it together sometimes and make it happen.
Absolutely, it does. Well, listen, we're coming up on the hour, so I'm only going to keep you a couple more minutes. So, the last question I have for you, I'd love to sit down with you and do a part two, for sure in the future, right? Because there's so much more we
Oh, yeah.
definitely got to talk about. I mean, we just barely scratched the surface. Is last question of the night for the legend Cory West is, bro, what's after racing?
Whew. Um, well, I have my own, off-road adventure bike, dual sport guided tour business. It's called Froggy's Moto Tours. So I do guided dual sport rides and adventure rides here in Northwest Arkansas. So that's something I've been doing for a while, and I kind of started it when I wasn't racing as much, and now that racing has consumed me again full time, I have to be kind of picky and choosy when I do it. But I could see me continuing to do that. It's something that I enjoy doing. I love showing people my countryside here in Northwest Arkansas and all the crazy dirt roads. I know a lot of them, so it's neat to just build these really big 200 plus mile days in the dirt and on a tagged, street legal adventure bike or dirt bike. It's pretty fun, but I do I like being involved in the racing, so I could see myself, continuing to go to the racetrack as a coach or, maybe management style position in a team if it could be something that would give me money to continue, living my life the way I do. So I have a lot of knowledge there, and that's kind of, it's the only thing I'm valuable at. I'm not much of a tradesman, so to speak. I'm a wheelman.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Listen, Corey, this has been an absolute proper mega wheelie good time, like I told you it would. I've had a lot of fun. I'm glad my wife's gonna be like, I'm glad you just got done with that because I was tired of hearing Corey West's name. No BS, right? But that's how I get. I'm such a nerd, and when I have uh, everybody on, I get so excited, and I just can't help myself till I talk about blah 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 blah. But anyway, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, how they can support you. Like, do you have any merch for sale, like hats and t-shirts and all that cool stuff?
No merch at the moment, but we're definitely trying to put some stuff together to carry around to the races next year. Some number 13 slash numero uno swag. So we'll get some stuff going. But yeah, you can follow me on my Facebook race page is Cory West number 13. My Instagram's at Cory West 13. And then my little side business is on Instagram is at Froggy underscore moto. And then on Facebook, it's Froggy's Moto Tours. So if you want to come visit and ride some dual sport adventure bikes, I've got some rentals. If not, bring your own. We'll have a really good time. And yeah, if not, I'll be at the races next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to everybody that watches this podcast. If you guys have not yet, please go hit that like and subscribe button on all my formats: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Podbean, Spotify, yada yada yada. Um, I need to get a little improv up here where I can just push and it just kind of goes through it all at the same time, right? But yeah, I feel like a robot at the end where I'm giving them all the same thing. But man, without any of these people, none of this would be possible. Everybody I'm getting ready to give a shout out real quick are all my friends that I believe in their sport and they have a business within the sport, right? So first one, thanks again for Next Level Financial for the support, bisontrack.com for all your leather needs, Chef Eats for the dude, he's the fastest chef in America and has got the most proper mega meals. Have you ever had Chef Eats yet, Jeff? Corey?
I have not.
Oh, bro, dude, you got to try it. They're super good. They're healthy meals. He makes athlete meals, just all kinds of stuff.
Good
You
to
can put it
know.
oven or put it in the microwave for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I absolutely love all his stuff. He's a good friend of mine, and he sponsors a lot of guys in Moto America as far as racing and stuff goes. So I will get you we'll link up. I'll shoot you messages on Instagram.
Perfect. Perfect.
But I'll get you in with Chef Eats. Flying Eyes Optics for all your sunglass needs. SFL Mini GP, RD Racing, and my mate Jake Marsh. Which happy birthday today, Jake Marsh. There's actually a lot of birthdays today. Happy birthday to all my friends today. There's actually a lot of them. I was like, man, everybody's got the same birthday today. Vet 2 Track. He has a program, Cory, where all the veterans he battles PTSD one lap at a time with this program, right? It's an absolutely amazing program. 64-degree racing, because everybody knows, Cory, that you don't show up to a track day or a race event with just one undersuit, dude. You just don't want to do that. We've all been there. We made that mistake, and it's not a cool mistake to make, right?
Gotta have one for every day.
Absolutely, you do, right? So, of course, as far as two-piece undersuits go, man, the 64-degree racing by Tape is absolutely my favorite one. It's freaking amazing. Ghetto Customs for all your proper custom body work. Chris Parrish is absolutely amazing. Big shout out to my man Martin out there in the UK, the clothingking.co.uk. You guys can go there and get all your Pendergast merch. BSB Barmy Army, Road Racing World Fun. I tell everybody, Cory, go up there, donate to the air fence. We need it. Without that, Cory wouldn't be able to get out there and win all these championships, much less anybody else in the paddock, right? So that's
helps
very
keep us
important.
safe. Yeah,
it does, absolutely. And if you're lucky and you show up, Cory, like I tell people, and you donate, I think the amount's like $350, I think. You get a 2-up ride with Chris Ulrich, right? Which is another legend of the sport.
Bonus.
So
yeah.
Absolutely bonus, right? And then if anybody's in the market to buy a motorcycle, look no further than Carnes Performance out there in Pennsylvania. He actually is in Moto America with Elisa and Levy Batty in the Junior Cup class, which now is the Talent Cup class for next year. So, and last but not least, big shout out to K-Tech. If you're not on K-Tech, I don't know what you're doing, right? Of course, there's Olin's and all that, but you need K-Tech is what I'm saying, right? So big shout out to Birch, Kendall, and Dakari and all them guys out there at K-Tech. And last but not least, KYT helmets, best helmets out there. Absolutely. They're super light, got the best airflow. And I tell Cory, man, like, listen, I went out, I'm a Valentino Rossi fan, so I spent my wife's gonna hear this, but it was like $1,800 for this Pista GP RRR Valentino Rossi lid, right? But then I'm like, dude, I could have bought 3 KYT helmets for the same price, right? But anyway, listen, enough about me running my mouth. Cory, is there anything you'd like to say to everybody before we end this podcast?
Oh, just thanks for having me on. It's always good to chat with someone that's got the passion for the sport. And hope you guys get out to a Moto America race and make sure it's one that has the baggers with super hooligans.
Absolutely. And Cory, I will see you definitely next year on a lot of these Moto America races. And I'll shoot you some info for Chef Eats, and we'll talk about scheduling part 2 of this. Enjoy your night. Tell Patricia I said hello. It'd be an honor to actually sit down with her sometime too. But I know you guys just had
a great story to tell as well.
I know she does. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute honor to sit down with the legend, Mr. Cory West. All right, Cory.
Thanks for having me.